So this video, I want to look a little bit closely at some more pages from our textbook. These ones are going to focus on research, information literacy, and all that fun stuff. So again, if you go back to week 11, these pages are located in our Blackboard uh, shell, week 11, shells they call it. All right, let's look at 392 to 403. Just a broad overview on information literacy. Research, writing, and documenting. Strap in and hold on to your seats. Now, this stuff, think about this though. I mean, probably a lot, all of you are really smart. You've done really great papers in this class. These notes and these things now that we're looking at, this is going to be, if you're going to finish your bachelor's degree, and then if you're even going on to master's degree and PhD, any graduate work, you're going to be writing research papers, research writing and documenting. The days of taking like Scantron tests and tests and quizzes and exams, you mostly take those during your freshman, sophomore years of study. It's basically exams. You can cover more material that way, and you need a breadth of material, but you're not really diving in and getting into it specifically. So when you get farther along in your studies, junior, senior, graduate school, your big projects are going to revolve around research papers, longer research papers, and projects that involve multiple steps. So all the stuff we're looking at now and practicing not only is it for the paper in this class, these are things that are going to be helpful down the road. So let's scan a couple of these pages. Information literacy. Engaging in research means dealing with a lot of information from different sources. One of the keys to good research is understanding how to navigate all the information that is available to you. Students have the option of using the internet, college libraries, public libraries, television, radio, all that stuff. We don't need to read all this stuff, right? This is important. While you will most likely do a majority of your research online, you want to keep all resource possibilities open. For our paper, I'm not requiring you to use web databases. You can pull your research and ideas off the web. Databases, I'm going to show you some stuff about databases though that can be helpful. I mean, it might open up some ways to look at your paper if you want, but I'm not requiring them. You're going to be using these in 1010 and all your other classes. So I'm just going to show you those a little bit to get our feet wet. Using online sources effectively. When faced with a research paper, students' initial reaction is to go to Google, type in some terms, and start reading the links in the order they appear. The first link you see is Wikipedia. The nature of Wikipedia, you don't want to quote Wikipedia, right? You don't want to quote from Wikipedia. And I think all your professors said it, because anyone can go in and edit it, though. However, Wikipedia can be helpful. Who's my favorite writer? Franz Kafka. I'll show you this trick about Wikipedia, though. So you go to Kafka's Wikipedia page. All this great information about him. And you could do this for anything you research. However, at the bottom of the page, there are all these primary, secondary, and tertiary sources where whomever made the page got it from. You see all these citations. And here are the sources. If you go to Wikipedia, you can go down to the sources and go to the original source and check it out. So that's just a note about Wikipedia. All right. Back to our pages. Most people think of Google as not the only option. All right, so stuff about searches. Again, like our last quick video, I'm not going to read all these things. If we were in class together or synchronously, we would be touching upon these and reading and commenting and searching stuff together. But you all can read. This is important stuff. You don't need me to read it to you. All right, more stuff about searching with keywords and Boolean operators. Uh, Databases. Okay. Academic Search Elite, Academic Search Complete. Databases are helpful. And I'm going to show you those. Oh, all right. This is what's important. Determining the reliability of online sources. You know, this is internet address. Look at the internet address. And this goes back to how can you tell it's a quality source, right? A good source. I had a student in my other class do a comparison contrast. He was looking at Jay-Z and Drake, right? So I had him research. He was looking at Jay-Z's first album, Reasonable Doubt, and then you see the Wikipedia here, and I had him use this Pitchfork review of Jay-Z's first album. I mean, this is Pitchfork. It's a music magazine, right? So the person is a musical critic. These would be things you would look at, if you're doing something in any field. Who are people who have experience in that field, right? Like my student, he wouldn't quote me talking about the album or just some random dude or somebody on social media or Reddit or something, right? I mean, you would go to a source that has some background. Like I said before with medical, use some type of quality medical journal, medical site, etc. All right. So weighting and sifting through the data, the sites, the web addresses can help you. Publisher or sponsor, who maintains the site, author, what credentials does the author have? This is what I'm just saying. Is it a person? Is it not just some random dude's blog? So here's a picture of Google, and I'll show you some stuff on Google to look at that might be of help. But again, this is important to kind of use critical thinking to examine online sources. Oh, that's that. More ideas and items. So what I'm going to show you, these pages are up here. We're scanning them quickly. I want to show you what I uploaded on our Blackboard page. If you look on our side toolbar here, and you go to scholarly databases, you can also get to these from the CCRI homepage. But if you click on scholarly databases, I have these videos and handouts about Google versus databases. Like I said, you don't have to use this, but it can be helpful depending on your topic. So Academic Search Complete. So if you see this, you would want to choose this fourth one down. It has 12,500 scholarly journals, right? If you click on Academic Search Complete. I had a student in a past class write a really amazing paper on the role, video games and women. So I'm just going to do a basic Google, or not Google, but search women and video game, and you see it pops up there. So women and video games, how, and her paper was really great because she looked at how the history of video games are mostly geared toward dudes, right? And how women have been, and she was a gamer, and how more games have been tailored toward women recently. So there's a search on this. You see, this is a periodical from '98, which is a long time ago. It has a list of video games for women. You see the abstract here. The thing is, when you start doing research, the biggest trick is sifting and sorting through the research will take more time often than writing the paper, right? So it's good to kind of be able to scan and read the abstract and see if this was helpful. So, but this is from a long time ago. We got 20 plus years ago. But the abstract focuses on video games for girls, list of video games for women, discussion on how women characters are treated. Girl-friendly software takes a hard line on stereotypes. Breaking of stereotypes, right? That looks interesting. This is in Spanish. This won't be necessarily helpful. This looks interesting. Move faster, think later. You can get a lot from the title and the abstract as well. Women who play action video games have quicker visually guided response with later onset visual related brain activity. What does that mean, right? So and you'll look at the abstract here. You see where it says abstract, and that kind of outlines improvements in several visuospatial and attention related skills, basically hand-eye coordination, right? That's what it's saying. These facts make video games a potential medium for skill training and rehabilitation, right? So we have some of these. What you'll notice when you look at these scholarly articles, though, versus broad out things you might find on Google, all these scholarly articles, they're written for people in the field. If you get a nursing article, they're not written for a general audience. They're written for people in the field. So the language is using the discourse of people in the field. It's a little bit more, it takes a little bit difficult to read, so you have to look up some words and use that stuff. But let's go down. That looks interesting. From 2020. Sexualized video games, sexist attitudes and empathy towards victims of rape. Correlational evidence for a relationship is minimal in an online study. No. Violent video games and aggressive behavior in young women. Gender roles and video. So there's a lot of stuff here, right? And I just typed in women in video games. I have a student doing a paper on in-person learning. See right there, in-person learning. And we'll see what pops up, and specifically in the age of COVID, right? And you can just play around with your searches. What I'm illustrating though as well, that looks interesting. Sometimes you'll type in something and you won't have a lot of hits, or a lot of things will pop up. So you'll have to manipulate your searches here and type in different stuff. So I'll probably spend some more time looking at these databases in another video, and some more time doing Google search. But if you just go to Google search though too, and I'll just use, you see all my searches there, women and video games. So see if you go to Wikipedia, you won't necessarily, this is actually, though we all go to Wikipedia for an overview, you won't want to quote from Wikipedia. Go down here at the bottom of Wikipedia and see where they have all their references. So that could be, and you can click on this, right? All right, so Go Girls Aloud. What is this? You can just click on it, and wow, there's a unveiling the story behind this. There you go. So Wikipedia can be used to find other stuff, right? Frontiers.org. This looks like an interesting. Some of these are articles, though. The thing is, if you find a scholarly article on Google, sometimes you have to pay for it. Whereas that EBSCO hosts the scholarly databases we get through CCRI, they're not free. I mean, we pay for them with your tuition and fees and whatnot. This is taking a while to load. I hope I didn't download some crazy virus here. Too long to load. I'm done. The Guardian. This looks interesting, right? Oh, look at this. Here's USA Today. Reputable newspaper, right? More women play now than teen boys. Do millennials and boomers play too? Oh, that could work. More video games. So right here, right? Like these, Wired looks good. I know that site. I know that news outlet. Women designing video games, The Guardian. Oh, I mean, there's your areas there, right? So sometimes you'll hit The Guardian's good, USA Today, Wired. Video games and gender game representation. So this is a site. I'm like, well, who is this? Michelle Zarilia, right? Who is this person? But I think, look at this. It uses really, it's citing. It's using a research-based. I would say this works. So it has a reference page. Look at the reference. Like this site works. Oh. All right. That should do it for this video. I will be posting some more, doing some other searches in a little bit. All right. Talk to y'all soon.